the Christopher Ward C1 Moonphase. This is our review. But first, I'm not a watch expert, I'm just a watch nerd, so if I say anything wholly contentious, or you just want to fight me, or you want to tell me how pretty I am, and I'm sorry about the moustache, Mr. Miller, then pop down into our comments and get involved. Whilst you're down there, why not like, subscribe, ding that bell icon so you never miss another video. And why not consider clicking that join button, becoming a channel member? We'd love you. The C1 Moonphase from Christopher Ward. The Christopher Ward show is back, as you can see from my chest. Watch yourselves, Christopher Ward. First of all, let's deal with the movement. The movement is a Sellita SW220-1, but it's got an added JJ04 module to add the Moonphase. The power reserve, 38 hours, not spectacular. Same as the Bel Canto, but again, same as the Bel Canto, you're not going to be using this really. It's not a spec focused watch, it's a visuals focused watch, very much so. The timing tolerance as well is plus minus 20 seconds a day. I'm not going to give it quite as much leeway as I gave the Bel Canto because it does have a running seconds, so you might actually care about the accuracy. But at the same time, it doesn't have any hour or minute track. So again, does accuracy really matter on a sparkly Moonphase? I'm thinking it doesn't, especially when it looks this good. 30 meters of water resistance, same as I said about the Bel Canto. Does it really matter? It's a very dressy watch. It's very concentrated on how it looks. You're not going to be using it to go snorkeling. And if you do, all you'll see is a big glowing moon in front of you. Before we get onto the aesthetics and the whole look of the thing, I want to talk about the bracelet, because this is actually the first watch I've reviewed from Christopher Ward which hasn't had the Beta bracelet. Instead, it's had the Consort bracelet, which has 5-link design with links 2 and 4 being fully polished, and I like it. It's got a really nice solid feeling, like with very little flex. It's got a nice butterfly clasp, which does actually bring me to one small niggle, because now that the 12 has a butterfly clasp with micro adjust, Consort bracelet needs to catch up a little bit, methinks. Great bracelet though, really nicely made, really nicely finished, so it looks really nice and dressy with nice end links as well. So it looks lovely. Would just be nice to have a little bit of micro adjust, I think. But it's lovely. It's obviously got screw links, like all of Christopher Ward's bracelets that I've used. Honestly, great bracelet. Could just do with a little bit of micro adjust. Now, let's talk about the watch part. The part you're going to be looking at. The part you're going to be staring at. It's a Moonphase. It's called the C1 Moonphase. So that's no big bloody surprise, is it? I want to get something out of the way first of all. It is finished spectacularly. Honestly, the finishing on the hands, they're not loomed hands, but they are polished to perfection. They look beautiful. The dial is sort of made of, it's a midnight blue, but it looks like an aventurine colour. It's got sparkle, looks like a deep, well, midnight blue night sky, and it's beautiful, I have to admit that. It's got a large cutout for the Moonphase, but especially when viewed head on, which is how it's going to be viewed most of the time, to be honest, you can't really see it. And can I say as well, the moon itself is really, really high definition. I think it's laser etched. It's really, really high definition. It looks beautiful. It looks absolutely beautiful up close. It looks just like how the moon looks in the night sky, and honestly, it's gorgeous. The moon itself is the only loomed part of the dial. And honestly, it's really cool to see at night. I'll be walking into my bedroom at night, or about to get into bed or something, and I just have this big moon staring at me. Obviously, it's not too useful to tell the time, but there's a novelty to it. May it wear off? Yeah, it probably will. But honestly, it's just really cool. It's really, really nice. The Moonphase as well, if you're interested, It's not something that really colours me, but if you're interested, it will actually track the moon perpetually for 128 years, which I think is pretty spectacular. So the Moonphase looks lovely, really well made, it's really solid, it's really, really good. And also, if we're talking about the dial, it doesn't have a Christopher Ward logo on the dial, only on the crown, and obviously on the clasp it says Christopher Ward. On the bracelet, all it says on the dial is Swiss made right at the bottom, so very similar to the Bel Canto. They didn't want to muddy the design of the dial with the Christopher Ward logo, and I respect that. It shows restraint. I think the design of this watch is really, really well done, but there is a but coming. The watch is 40.5mm. If I put it on, especially with a watch that's sparkly, with a big moon, I feel like for the design of the watch, it's slightly outsized, at least in my opinion. It's a very dressy watch, and honestly, I'm not sure when I'd wear it if it were mine. I'm not sure when I'd wear it. I'd likely wear it with a suit, but even then it feels slightly over the top. At 40.5mm, it is quite large. So my one piece of criticism, really, for this watch are both one and the same. A, I don't know really who this watch is for, despite how well made and how well designed and how beautiful it looks. I'm not sure who'd wear it and when, other than maybe if I was a kid's magician. I can picture wearing it then, because it's got it's got a lovely quality. But there's a caveat. I can picture wearing it, honest to God, I can picture wearing this if it was 36 or 37mm. I just think the size does it an injustice and draws too much focus to the dial, because at the end of the day it's a sparkly dial on a 40.5mm watch. It's still fairly subtle, but the size sort of draws your eye too much, when I think this watch could do with being even subtler to make up for the sparkliness, in all honesty. So it looks beautiful, it's beautifully made. I think for a Moonphase that's this pretty, you're not paying a terrible price at £2,155, because it does look spectacular, and it's a Moonphase at the end of the day. I just wish it were a bit smaller. Significantly smaller, at 36 to 37mm, so 3 or 4mm smaller, which is not insignificant. I wouldn't wear it at this size, or I wouldn't buy it at this size, but I can picture myself being a lot more drawn to it at that smaller size, and that's my honest review. I've talked to a few people. I think most of us agree, because if we're talking about dimensions, it's also 13.3mm thick, and it's got a 48mm lug to lug, so it's not a small boy, and with a sparkly dial it's going to draw a lot of attention. Doesn't mean I don't like it. God, no. I remember the original video that we made when it was first unveiled, and we really liked it. I just think it's a little bit large to wear when it's this sparkly. As a gent's watch, which it's obviously meant to be. Maybe I'm just insecure. Maybe I'm just insecure. But it's hard to outfit match when it's this big. Terry, what's your thoughts?
I think it's beautiful to look at.
Yeah.
But it's far too thick. I'm not a huge fan of the cutout. I think in the daylight it's quite obvious.
See, I don't agree with that. I can see why you'd think that.
It was the first thing I noticed when you handed it to me the first time.
I can see why you'd think that, but in all honesty, I don't agree that it's too obvious or anything. I love
the moon.
Yeah.
The moon is beautiful. It's a hard one because it's so big, it's so noticeable. But then I suppose you want it to be noticeable. It's a confusing watch for me.
It's got me confused because I want to love it. I want to love the design. I just think it's too big. Because I do love the design. But again, it's just draws the eye a little bit too much for the design that it has. Plus, unisex. No, never anything wrong with that. So what do you guys think? That was my honest review. Pop down into the comments, because I really want to hear what you think of this watch. Bearing in mind, my wrists are 6.5 inches, and it doesn't look huge, but the design of the watch, it just really draws you in, maybe more than I'd like. But whilst you're down in the comments, why not like, subscribe, ding that bell icon so you never miss another video, and why not click that join button, become a channel member. And whilst we're on the subject of channel members, all of our current ones are on the screen now. They are the best people in the whole wide world, and the second best people in the whole wide world is everyone watching this video. So thank you very much, and watch yourselves.